So we're going to be checking out this TikTok video of you don't have to make a ton of money to reach your goals by QUEERD.co. Interesting. So I don't make enough to pay off debt and save, in quotes. Let's see. And also the reason why I have it muted is they're playing Kendrick Lamar, and that's going to just be a hassle to deal with. Let's see. 2 years ago, I had $60 to my name and was making $27,000 a year. Well, one, having $60 to your name is obviously not a good thing. And to be frank, in the majority of places, making $27,000 a year, which I'm assuming is like gross revenue, like gross money, gross income, is practically nothing, right? Depending on where you're living, the cost of living alone might be more than that, which is a scary situation. Let's see. Okay. The problem with like TikToks and like these like Instagram reels, they rely heavily on like the music to actually like entertain people enough to get them to keep watching. Let's see. Since then, paid off my credit card, saved a full emergency fund, paid off $10,000 of debt. Hey, props to you. Moved to the sixth most expensive city in Canada. I have no clue what that is. And I have no clue what the cost of living is for the sixth most expensive city in Canada. Now, here's the thing. Even though I don't live in Canada, I do know that in Canada, some of the cost of living cities are disgustingly high. Like, I think in one city, it might be Toronto, where, if Toronto's a city, right? I think like the average home price is like nearly 600 or $700,000 or something, something crazy, right? So I do know Canada can be more expensive. So like $27,000 is kind of insane that someone was making that much. But now, basically, hopefully she's doing better. I'm guessing. Well, she is, right? Have 10,000 plus in savings. Pretty good. Which this is the sad situation, right? Like 10,000 plus in savings is good. It's technically not a lot of money, but it's good. But compared to like the average person, this is like 1,000 times% better than the average person, which is scary, right? Like the average person basically has like what, maybe $100, $200 in their account, if that. Like people are living paycheck to paycheck, working multiple jobs just because they don't really have good financial literacy. And it's not really a fault to them, it's just basically they just don't know, right? The thing is, this is the reality of life. You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you never even came across like personal finance at all in terms of like how to manage your money, you're probably not going to be good at it, right? And it's unlikely for someone to just like, you know what, I really want to get better handle of my money out of nowhere, right? Usually it ends up having to come to a point where something super bad happens to where they end up changing their life, which is a sad situation. But yeah, have 10,000 plus in savings, started investing, which is good. Now I help women achieve the same. Hey, props to you. And by the way, as like a side comment, I don't know if she's doing this on purpose, but she might. But obviously, she's using some ways to bring attention to it, to her videos, to keep people watching, to potentially make more and more content or like followers, whatever. Because the thing is, like, the difference between like a lady and a guy, for example, it is very hard for a guy to get any sort of attention at all, but a girl doesn't necessarily need something necessarily special for them to end up getting attention. But also, she's using her assets very well to garner more views, garner more subscribers, which is actually a pretty cool thing to just see someone actually end up something that they have to end up basically capitalizing on it, right? Because a lot of people just don't even really use what they got, which is pretty insane. So let's check out some of these comments. Let's see. So, what's with the randoms in our generation trying to act like it's so easy to do this, or honestly, even just possible? Well, here's the thing. The reality is, it's not easy, but it can happen, right? You just got to go through the process. Let's see. A person says, "I'm a money coach." Blah 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 blah. Anyone else think $27,000 a year is a lot, or just me? I don't think $27,000 is a lot. Like in the majority of places, $27,000 is practically nothing. Yeah, like the reality is if you're oh my god, for the last 2 years I made $12,000 combined? What? I'm a student nurse, unpaid, I qualify in Feb. Will be paid about $1,800 a month from then on. My rent is $925 a month, so no money in savings. Help. Jesus. But I live with the United States where something like spraining my wrist while unloading truck at work would cost me my entire life. Yeah, the thing is, if you're living in the United States, you need good health insurance. Like you need to pay for good health insurance more so than pretty much anything else because like the thing is you want to have money in the bank for like an emergency savings account, but then also you want like good health insurance in the terms of like catastrophic health insurance so that like if something super bad happens in life, you at least will be covered. So it's just something to think about. Let's see. Me sat here only earning like $14,000 a year. How are you even living on $14,000 a year? LMFAO, the things I could do with 27,000. Like where are you living where you could actually survive on $14,000 a year? Like your cost of living must be so tiny. Like that's so crazy. I used to be below the poverty line. I've been there. If you aren't able to get a higher paying job, I recommend trying to get a side income. I don't know. That's pretty crazy. Well, a lot of people don't understand. In the majority of locations, in terms of where you are actually living, some of the best ways to just improve your financial situation is to just either change jobs or work an extra job. Just to change your financial situation to better it to so then you can never really have to rely on living paycheck to paycheck in a situation. Like because look, the main problem with living paycheck to paycheck, no matter how much money you're making, is that if something bad happens, you're basically completely effed. And not just because you can't really afford it, it's because you're going to rely on going into debt to try to pay for it, which in turn is going to make every month after that even harder for you to survive, right? Because now you're having to worry about making payments on that new debt because you couldn't even afford to solve the problem that you ended up having. Like, it's just crazy. Like, people need to be really, really careful in how they manage their money and do everything in your power to not be living paycheck to paycheck.